And then we talk about Tencent Cloud Blockchain Solutions and how it's hitting the financial sector and scene. Absolutely worth checking out more about what they're doing, guys, but Tencent is absolutely in the mix when it comes to major investment in cloud-related technologies. Then, again, this was really interesting because this was posted by the Neo news team. And, sorry, this is the information that you'll see on the right. And there's some key bits of information that relate to Tencent here. So I'm going to talk about this in the context of these two sources. On September 19th last year, there was a very important meeting that was held with the majority of them were government stakeholders. Several ministries were represented, and again, huge amount of fintech representation. So we're talking about Tencent, BAT, and Alibaba. So for the most part, this was not designed to be open to, what we'd argue was a small player. What was interesting was Neo and Da Hongfei were invited in through Onchain. Through the relationship with that, Da Hongfei represented the overall ecosystem. If you have a look down here, and I'm going to show you, yes, I'll show you on the next page. You can see here on this page that some of the people that were actually in attendance. So you can see that Tencent were there, you can see at the top there, Tencent Fit platform were involved. If you go across and read further into it, you'll see Tencent come up quite a few times. Now remember, Da Hongfei was at this meeting. He attended and was invited as a special guest so that they could unpack the future of blockchain. So if you go back again, you can see that it was all about unpacking trust and how that's going to work. And the conversationalists here were the main players. BAT was there, the government was there, and government was the mainstay presence. So it was very interesting that Da was at these meetings. So guys, the next thing I want to show was this article, and this article was really interesting because it's talking about an elite Ecological Alliance in the blockchain industry. And guess who's on this in this article? And if you see at the top in the white, it says something very interesting. It says that the person who has the title of Shanghai's French company chain, or the French chain company representative, is Chen Wenjun. Now, Chen Wenjun is directly related to LawChain as well. So that is particularly interesting because, again, it correlates with enterprise, money, payment rails are certainly plausible given these correlations. So really interesting find there. This one was interesting, helps us understand Baidu a bit more. Baidu is investing significantly now into Hyperledger. It just joined it. And again, if you know a bit more about Onchain, Onchain is a member of Hyperledger. Hyperledger is underpinned by IBM. IBM have really interesting protocols called Hyperledger Fabric, which again correlates directly with the underpinning code protocols of both DNA and Neo, because they all underpin by Byzantine fault tolerance processes and protocols. So Baidu's in the mix, which is very interesting given, again, these potential Elastos connections. So, and if you look in the article too on the right, there's more evidence here to show the LawChain connection with Microsoft. So if you look down the bottom, you can see that there's a mention of RegTech. We know that RegTech there's a meetup happening in Japan, specifically on RegTech with BlockPass and with CoinFirm. Da Hongfei will be there. So these, and if you look down the bottom, Dr. Chen Wenjun, Doctor of Economics, is focused on RegTech financial outlook. So Dr. Chen Wung, finance related. Really interesting. So guys, the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was R3, Microsoft, and the partnership they formed. And this is really significant. So I'll put it up again because the battery died on the camera. This is really significant because remember I showed you that photograph of Feng Hang of Elastos working with R3. Well, what we know now is these things. R3 has linked with Hyperledger for some time. Onchain is a member of Hyperledger. Hyperledger is IBM, and Stellar has a connection with IBM, but more importantly, they are working on a 5-year project with Elastos. Then we go across to Microsoft. Microsoft has just partnered with R3. We know Microsoft has worked directly with Neo. We know that they have a product called Microsoft Azure that they've worked with the Neo and Onchain team, and they are partnering with R3. So given that Feng Hang has worked with R3, given all of these interconnections, this is really significant for Elastos, and it's really significant for Neo because Elastos is going to be built via a Neo contract on the Neo ecosystem. Another thing I wanted to show you was that whilst being Australian and wanting to show you some of, you know, predominantly globally relevant information, what I found here was that the Australian main primary bank called the Commonwealth Bank, it was also doing some early work with R3. So it says here, as an early developer of R3, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia has accumulated a wealth of experience in distributing ledger technologies that have been used by our generation and customer brought great benefits. The better integration of the Quarter platform with Azure will allow the Commonwealth Bank to better pilot the distributed ledger technology and help keep the bank's financial service technologies at the forefront of innovation. So this is another bit of information to really show you that banks are heavily involved in on-chain plan, in that R3, through its consortium collaboration with Hyperledger, and obviously with their with those companies' interest in Neo and Elastos, and also given Microsoft Azure's role in all of this as a blockchain technology, you can see all the pieces fitting together. Really interesting stuff. So the other thing I wanted to show you was that recently there was a post that was put up with some of the photographs of the San Francisco meetup, and the person who submitted them, they also mentioned the word Elastos. So I want to acknowledge them, and I'll show you the link for this. It's provided there, but essentially that's what got me started on looking at this concept in China of Yun, of the cloud. And what was interesting too is that it was meant to be an event of 100 people, but instead 900 people arrived. So we can see already the community of Neo is absolutely growing at a very exponential rate at the moment. So that was really cool. So guys, that was the end of the presentation in terms of the in terms of the articles that I wanted to get to present to you to raise questions. So hopefully that's what's happened. I wanted to sort of present those to really posit some ideas or propose some ideas of some of the interconnections so that it makes that map I drew much more real, hopefully. That was the premise for it, because when I drew it, many people wanted to know why I drew it and where were the connections. So what I'll do is I'll provide you with all the links of the articles that were encased in that presentation, and then let's talk about it, because there's certainly a lot to talk about. But for now, guys, that's it from me. I hope it's been informative. I hope it's helped you understand and unpack Elastos more. And until next time, it's BlockchainBrad signing out. Take care.